Good morning. We've got a very engaging show today with our guest, the Honorable Craig Rice, the new County Council President. Good morning, Councilman Rice, and welcome to Montgomery Mosaic.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. You and I had a chance to chat a little bit earlier about if whether or not I was going to call you by your proper name, Councilman Rice, or call you Craig, and you said call you Craig, so I appreciate that very much.
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe in certainly we are all the same. I just happen to be fortunate enough to be elected to a position, but that does not elevate me to some sort of level. I don't believe that at all. So,
Well, that's appreciated, believe me. First, I do want to congratulate you, though, on your recent election as president of the Montgomery County Council for the year ahead. Tell me a little bit about how you envision your new role in the coming year.
sure. Well, as the president of the council in an election year, it's a little bit unique for us in the sense that part of the responsibility is making sure that we can try and guarantee that all of our folks come back for other terms. You know, we work well as a team, and so that's part of the responsibility. But it's also in making sure that we're closing out on delivering on some of the things that we set out to do in the 4 years that we were elected for our term. And so I think that that's a key part of it as well. There are going to be a lot of people who want to close out on some of their agenda items. So I want to try and be as helpful and supportive with them as possible. But there are also some things that as council president, I think that we're going to be trying to focus on this year, which are priorities for myself, but also I think priorities for this county, which involves supporting our small business, our local minority-owned small businesses, as well as making sure that we're doing more for our kids in education, making sure that all of them have access to a quality education, and that means closing our achievement gap.
Absolutely. You're the youngest African American to ever serve on the council and only the second African American man to serve on that body. Now, before this, you represented your district in the Maryland House of Delegates. So being in public office, it's not exactly new to you, right?
No, no, no. It's I kind of say I'm an old hand at it, and then people look at me and say, "Well, wait a minute, you can't be that old at this." So.
Right, right. So, what motivated you at your age to move from the private sector to the public service arena?
Well, I unfortunately had a family tragedy that befell my family when I was in school at University of Illinois. My aunt and her son, who was my cousin, and the nurse that was caring for him were killed in a triple murder here in Montgomery County some years ago. And through that, we came to find out that it was the result of the ex-husband, Lawrence Horn, who had hired a hitman to carry out these crimes. And it's a very well-known story for those that have lived here in Montgomery County. It was one of the first and most tragic triple murders that we've had here in Montgomery County. But what came out of that is that we found out that the hitman used a book called How to Be a Hitman, a book that was published at the time by Paladin Press. And so my mother and the family decided that they would take it upon themselves to sue Paladin Press to get that book off of the
Good,
market.
good.
And, seeing my mother, who was one of 14 brothers and sisters, and other members of the family who got together and said, you know what, we're going to take on a publishing giant. And we're going to take on the court system that says that, look, this is freedom of speech. But we believe that something had to be done to try and keep some tragedy like this from befalling other people.
Absolutely.
We didn't want a mechanism like this to be out there. I saw that and said to myself that, while we all do our part in our communities, there are responsibilities that we have to try and shape our communities to be better for others.
Right.
And it was from that I said, you know what, I need to do my part. And being that I had been involved in Young Democrats and other things growing up, I said, you know what, probably the best way for me to do that is to run for office so that you can be a part of the solution.
I agree with you. And it's amazing, too, because you mentioned Young Democrats. Boy, do I remember that. That's really taken it back a few years for
Oh,
me
yeah,
now.
no question.
After the recent election of officers, you were quoted as saying, quote, over this next year, it will be imperative that we continue to function as one Montgomery. We will make sure Montgomery County stays on track as the economic engine and education leader of the state, which is very important. This statement definitely reflects two of your top priorities, economic development and education. Tell me why these two issues, although you said a little bit about them, but go deeper.
Sure. Well, the reason why they're so important, and I'll start with education first because that's the foundation.
Right.
Education is the great equalizer. My mother
Yes.
was a special education teacher for over 30 years. And it was clear to me growing up that education was the foundation to success, was the ability for you to be able to do whatever it is that you wanted to do.
Of course.
See, and oftentimes we shape success as telling people what that is, being a doctor, being a lawyer, being an
Right.
engineer. But for me, success is you being happy and you feeling as though you internally have achieved your overall goals and mission. So, my wife is a hairstylist and works in Elizabeth Arden and Chevy Chase and absolutely loves what she does. She got her cosmetology degree in high school and immediately started working and joined the workforce and is extremely happy at what she does. I have a cousin who owns an HVAC company and does extremely well. These are the kinds of things that, again, when it comes to education, we have to make sure that we're providing everybody the opportunity and not pigeonhole people into certain careers saying these are the only ones that you're going to be successful.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. What needs to be done in both areas to keep the county on track as the state's economic engine and education leader?
Well, I think that, when it comes to the education leader, we again have to make sure that we're closing that achievement gap, supporting all of our kids in whatever it is that they want to do. And we've heard that from a number of folks that have now said, hey, actually, we need to talk about being college and career ready.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a great position for us to go in. But one of the other things that a lot of people haven't talked a lot about is how small business is also an uplifting equalizer as well, especially in our minority communities. What we see is people are self-empowered to start a business in their neighborhoods, utilizing the fact that they know people from the neighborhood know them, are going to utilize that business, and it helps to uplift because not only is that person then creating a successful business, but they're also employing people
That's right.
from that neighborhood to be a
That's
part
right.
of that local business. So it serves dual purpose. Plus the third one and the ancillary piece as a government elected official is that we also have a tax base that comes out of that. Every
Yes.
single
Yes.
business that's successful means more tax dollars that are pouring into our coffers. It means the income taxes that come out of those people that are being employed, and also means that those folks that are employed are also now not filing for unemployment, not filing for
Yes.
social services
Yes.
programs. It's a multi-beneficial spectrum pathway for us. And so I think that we've got to get back to basics. These are things that we've known for a long time. I'm not some genius that's come up with some brand new way for us to create success. But I think that we've thought a little bit too much. And now
Right.
we've got to get back
Right.
to the simple things,
Right.
restoring our small businesses and the ability for them to grow into our middle and large businesses is the direction for us that I think is going to help keep Montgomery County on track, just like you said, as the economic and education leader of the state.
You've tuned into Montgomery Mosaic, and I'm here talking today with Montgomery County Council President Craig Rice about his leadership for the council. We're having a chat about the economic engine and education leader here in the county. Craig, you were talking earlier about how we're actually going back to some of those, I don't want to say old values because then I would date myself, but we're going back to some of those, like you said, the career path. It's all about what you can come up with as the career, and it has to be active. Once you come out of school, no matter which school you choose to go to, then you have to make a decision about what's going to be your active career.
That's
and I
right.
think that that's important. And I remember, this is a long time ago again, you probably remember this too. It used to be a time in our churches, in the black community, where we could
Yes.
actually find someone within our community at church who did something, whether it was someone who was an excellent cook,
That's
whether it
right.
was someone who knew how to sew and was a seamstress.
Yes.
No matter what, you found someone within that network, within that community network, who knew something like that, and they had their own idea of what a small business was.
That's absolutely right. And it's interesting that you bring up churches because, I've attended my church, Mount Calvary Baptist in Rockville, for probably almost 30 years now. And yeah, right here in Montgomery County. And, in looking and seeing the ever-changing faces in that church, One of the concerns I have is that it seems as though the black family has gotten away from
True.
religion. I don't see as many faces that are that are in my age group. And that's concerning to me because I feel as though all of the different community hubs, whether it's churches or other community groups,
Right.
are important in terms of being able to share ideas, in terms of being supportive.
That's right.
You looked up to people, but you also used them as resources. I'll never forget that there was a woman that was in my church that told me and sang the praises of Howard University. And, my mother went there for grad school, and Nancy Works, who was an administrator there, kept telling me about how fantastic Howard was. And I actually ended up attending a year at Howard right after I had left University of Illinois. And it was a fantastic experience for me. And those are the kinds of things that, again, we have kind of taken for granted and forgotten about.
Right.
The ways in which ACSO, the African American
Right.
Cultural, Technological, Scientific Olympics.
That's
I
right.
found out about that through my church. And I'm going to tell you the interesting thing about that was that actually enabled me. I ended up placing first place at ACSO, not only here locally, but at the national
level.
That's
Right.
right. I won a gold medal at the national level, and that garnered me scholarship opportunities.
Yes.
And the only reason why I found out about that was through my church. So again, it's there are a lot of different pieces of this about when I talked about getting back to the basics
Right.
before, that we need to make sure that we're sharing all of the information about the great things that are going on here in the county, the great opportunities that we have, and reaching out to all of those places that we knew were hubs before.
And see, that's so critical. You're right in what you're saying. I was chatting with someone recently at church, as a matter of fact, and we were talking about how you see such a divergent now because you see either people my age, if you will, of more mature years, shall we say, or you see younger people whose parents are bringing them, the teens.
That's right.
But I don't see many young families like I used to.
That's
and there
right.
was a time when, the young families, including myself many years ago, we could go to mom and dad's house after church service. There'd be a nice dinner,
Right.
of course. And you had a chance to have that opportunity because other people would come over to the house.
Right.
And that was a part of the process. That was part of the growing up process.
Absolutely.
You don't find that as much, and it's as though that the more we try to hold on to those values, it's much more challenging, isn't it?
Well, can I keep it real for a second?
Please
Because
do.
I think that
Please do.
I think that part of it is the divergence from religion as a whole. Because in our society, we always talk about the separation of church and state.
Correct.
And we talk about the fact that, we don't want to talk about Christmas anymore. We
Right.
want to say happy holidays. All of those kinds of things have kind of whittled away
Right.
at the importance, I think, of faith and religion as a part of who you are. And you shouldn't be shy and step away from saying, I believe in God.
Right.
I believe that God helps me in making decisions.
Right.
Those things are important. And of course, it's interesting. There was Congressman Elijah Cummings told me about 10 years ago, so before I ever got into elected office, about a book called God's Politics, and told me to read this book. And I suggest to everybody listening out there in the audience to read this book.
God's
It is
Politics.
tremendous because it talks about how important it is to include the two together, and how
Right.
we, especially in the Democratic Party,
Right.
because we're trying to be so politically correct, have stepped away from the conversation about God and faith and
That's right.
politics, even though we open up every single council hearing
With
a prayer.
With
You
prayer.
know?
Exactly.
But then people look at you weird when you say God bless you. It's an insult or something.
As though it's, don't say that to me.
That's right.
It's
That's
like
right.
taboo. Don't say that because then that will require them to think.
Absolutely.
That will require them to think. You're listening to Montgomery Mosaic. I'm Deborah Milo. We're chatting with Montgomery County Council President Craig Rice. I should say newly minted Council President Craig Rice. Craig, as part of your serving on the Council's Health and Human Services Subcommittee, you're the lead for the county's public libraries, and I'm a huge fan of public libraries. Even though I'm from Ohio, my kids growing up, the libraries was where that was the place to be.
That's right.
You've been a strong, outspoken advocate for libraries, so this seems like a good fit for you. Tell us in that capacity what being the lead really means.
Well, the lead means not only when it comes to the budget and
Right.
making sure that we understand how this new upcoming budget will affect libraries, but it also comes about when we're talking about innovation and new ways in which we can do things differently.
Right.
You'll see with a lot of our new libraries that are coming on line, and we have a brand new one that's opening up in Gaithersburg
That's right.
and next month.
Yeah.
And so it's very exciting for us because what's going to happen is that we see that while libraries have evolved, and
Yes.
certainly, you don't have microfiche anymore. There's no card catalogs anymore.
Exactly.
See, I'm old enough to remember those. But at the same time, the books are still there.
Absolutely.
The books aren't going anywhere. Just because we have ebooks and e-readers, as I'm sitting here looking at my iPad.
Yeah, I saw that. I wasn't going to say anything, though.
But at the same time, a book is still something that
Oh,
will
yes.
never, ever go away.
Yes.
They're so important. And people, my daughters who I think about who read books every night before going to bed, it's extremely important. And so it's great in understanding that while libraries have certainly evolved in terms of the ability to find more information quicker, the reality is that a lot of things aren't going to change about libraries. Our books aren't going anywhere. The support isn't going anywhere. The community hub
Absolutely,
piece
yes.
is not going anywhere. Those can't be replaced. We can create as many Google spaces as you want to on
Right,
the internet,
right.
but it does not take the place of being able to sit down and talk with some of your neighbors, some of your classmates about an issue and be able to come together. A lot of great ideas and great decisions have come out of people that met at our libraries. And so, they play such an integral role in our community and are so, so important. We don't see them going anywhere, and we need to do more to make sure that we're building them up.
You're talking to a woman who still goes home in the evenings and still sits with a cup of tea with a book. My family continues to tell me, you are so low tech, Mom. But it's just that there's something about having a book in my hand, and I know it's my upbringing.
Right.
But there's something about having that tangible book in my hand and being able to leaf through the pages.
Absolutely.
And then going to the library and just scrolling through the shelves. So I'll get there. When it comes to the technology, I'll get there.
That's right. That's
You know,
right.
what do you see as the greatest needs for the Montgomery County Public Library system of today? I know it's changed over the years, but looking at today and in the future, what do you see as the greatest needs?
Well, I think that, again, over the past few years, we've actually reduced our collection. And that's been unfortunate. We haven't been able to keep up with the demand. We've grown to over 1 million people, but our budget hasn't been able to grow
Right.
accordingly. And so, therefore, we're really playing catch up at this point when it comes to our libraries. So I think that building up our collection is extremely important. We actually just started last year building that back up and putting in hundreds of thousands of dollars back into our libraries. So I'm very happy to see that. We need to do more of that. But we also need to make sure that, again, our librarians, that we've also cut back. So when it comes to people being able to help people
Right.
in our libraries, to shepherd them through, because just because you are able to pull up a book online doesn't mean that it's the right book.
That's
and the
right.
librarians were always the ones that said, look, this is going to be the right book for you or not the
That's
right book.
right.
And so those are the things that, again, I mean, we all know not everything you find on the internet is the truth.
Oh, my goodness.
let me make sure I put that out there for folks. Not everything on the internet is the truth.
I am so glad you said that, because there are several people who think that the internet has it, then it must be the truth.
Yeah.
No,
Well, that's
no,
not the
no.
case. And so I remember a time when we would use a reference like Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yes.
Those are the kinds of things that were tried and true. You knew those were facts,
You knew
right?
those were facts.
Now you go up, anybody can create a website tomorrow and say, you know what, the moon never existed and it's a fabrication of government. Does that mean it's true?
The
No,
moon
of
is made
course
of
not.
cheese.
There you go. Wait, I thought that one was true. No, no, but it really is one in which the librarian, that whole structure of our libraries that has always been a foundation, needs to still be there. That's
Yes.
so important for us. And so I think that when we're talking about building them back up, it's the collection, it's
Yes.
the people, those are the things that make our libraries and the spaces, of course. And so as we build our new libraries, we want to make sure we're mindful of the community space needs that are out there as well, especially in some of our more poverty-stricken areas
Absolutely.
where we know that there aren't any other resources. You know, we've done a great job with some of our recreation centers and making sure that there are community spaces available, and those spaces are always booked to the hilt.
Amazing.
Always utilized. And so our community libraries are another place in which folks can use them as those community spaces. And I think that will be what we see in the future.
That's so important. You're listening to Montgomery Mosaic. I'm Deb Milo, and I'm chatting with Montgomery County Council President Craig Rice, who has graciously agreed to let me call him Craig. You represent the county's sprawling up-county region. It's a very geographically diverse district as well as the fastest growing in the county. You've got rural areas, including a nationally renowned agricultural preserve, and two of the state's most booming regions, Clarksburg and Germantown. Tell me a little bit about the priorities of your constituents.
Well, you know, it's very interesting. I was actually at an Up-County Citizens Advisory Board meeting not too long ago. And there they talked to me about some of the concerns that they've had, which are pretty much the same. Keeping up pace with growth. And that's one of the things. The nice thing about Germantown is we've seen new things come online. Wegmans joined Germantown.
yes.
And so that's that put Germantown on the map. If it
sure
wasn't
did.
on the map before,
sure
we have
did.
people coming from all across to visit Wegmans. But, when we look at Clarksburg, an area in which was slated for tremendous development, slated to have 45,000 people, and currently sits at around 14,000 people. There's a lot more that's going to happen there. And the key is that building the infrastructure to support that. Making sure that we have libraries, making sure that we have recreation centers. In Clarksburg, Clarksburg doesn't have a library. In fact, Clarksburg only has one sit-down restaurant.
That's right. You're right
One
about that.
sit-down restaurant.
You're right
Yeah,
about
Bennigan's.
that. Bennigan's,
That's in
right.
Clarksburg. They just recently opened their first grocery store in Clarksburg, a Harris Teeter.
Harris Teeter.
And so that's
Yes.
their first one. But there's a lot more that's slated to go to Clarksburg. And so I'm excited about what's on the horizon. I've worked very closely with my Clarksburg community over these past 3 years, and we were able to deliver on getting them their first grocery store, making sure that we paved the way so that owners of property could open up that first restaurant. And now we've got other things that are coming in there. We've got a 24-hour emergency medical facility that will be there, sponsored by Adventist Healthcare. And we've got a number of different things that are going on. We've got a hospital, the first hospital in Maryland in 30 some odd years that's coming to Germantown.
My goodness.
Holy Cross.
Holy
and so
Cross.
it's very exciting to see, again,
Oh, of
what's
course.
happening in this Germantown, Clarksburg, this up-county region. There's tremendous recognition for the number of people and the growth that's happening there. And I think that we are doing what we need to. And I appreciate the support of my colleagues on the council, the support of the county executive, in being able to make some of these things happen because, it's extremely important to us as an entire community to make sure that all of our residents have what they need.
What I hear you saying is that a lot of the needs of the up-county area are actually county-wide needs.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
what I hear you saying.
Because the success in making sure that these areas continue, we've slated them, and again, as a government elected official, when it comes to property taxes, when it comes to income taxes, all of these things are what we project out in terms of growth.
Exactly.
And so we want to make sure that we're not only keeping in line in terms of making sure that the infrastructure is there, but also making sure that the growth is in line so that we can meet our projections, so that we can continue with some of the great programs and fantastic things that we offer that make Montgomery County so special and unique. And we're also seeing that in the Germantown area, we're seeing a tremendous growth in our minority population.
Absolutely.
It's a tremendous boom, and it's especially in our Hispanic, Latino, some of our Middle Eastern and Indian populations. We're seeing those boom. We're seeing some of our African American population grow as well. And so it's tremendous to see that diversity that we always talk about in Montgomery County.
Yes.
And there's a great snapshot of that right in the Up-County area.
Thanks again for tuning into Montgomery Mosaic. It's Deb Milo here, and I'm chatting with Craig Rice Montgomery County Council President, and we're going to chat a little bit more about him this time, as opposed to not just the initiatives and everything that he's working on. What strengths, Craig, do you think that you feel you bring to this role as council president? Now, I know that you bring a lot of strengths, but specifically, you personally, as a person, what do you think you bring?
Well, one of the major things that I've always tried to focus on is collaboration, working with people, making sure that you're respectful, making sure
Yes.
that you understand that we're all in this together, never
Yes.
questioning anyone in terms of their intentions or their ideals or their beliefs. Uh, that's just how I was raised. And I think that served me well. It served me extremely well when I was a member of the House of Delegates in Annapolis. And I think it serves me well here. And it's one of the reasons I think that my colleagues had the confidence to elect me as their council president. I do believe in, picking up the phone and talking to people.
Yes, you do. Yes, yes.
I don't believe in the whole, while emails and text messages are important, they're not always appropriate. And sometimes it's important to talk to a person face to face. A lot can be misinterpreted or misunderstood via a lot of our electronic media. And I think that that's something that a lot of folks have gotten away from. And it's also by doing that, by relying on social media in terms of communication, you've also lost that feeling, that relationship
And
that's
that
there.
personal touch.
Exactly. And that's so important in not only dealing with our colleagues, but also with our constituents. I know that we represent a total of 1 million people, but I still make sure that I get out there and hold town hall meetings
Yes.
so I can sit down and talk to people, like I was telling you before about attending the Up County Citizens Advisory Board meeting, going to neighborhood meetings, going to different events, going to Germantown Sports Association on the weekend when they have a football game, and just talking to people about what's going on in their communities, what's a challenge for them. Those are things that I think are integral to being a true representative. And I think that it serves me well also when it comes to dealing with my colleagues, because we all are trying to make sure that our community's a better place for all of them to live, to work, to play, to strive, to succeed, all of those things. But we need to talk about that. We need to talk
Right.
about how we can collaborate together to get some of those things going.
Right.
We don't each work in our own silo as 9 members. We have to be combined as a council. And that also means working across the street with
Yes,
our
it
county
does.
executive
Yes, it
and
does.
talking to him. And so the county executive and I have a great relationship as well. And I think that this will be a banner year for seeing the county council, the county executive, our state delegation in Annapolis, our federal delegation. I was just on the phone with Congressman John Sarbanes the other day. Talking with all of these folks, I think, is going to bring us to really come up with some great solutions and move Montgomery County forward.
Being council president could easily become a 24/7 job. And actually, frankly, I don't know how you do it. Okay, you must clone yourself at some level. How do you pull back from the job and find ways to take your mind from the job for just a minute? Just kind of like give yourself some time, like a day, a whole day. How do you do that?
It's extremely tough, and having daughters that were born into this. My daughter Anaya at the time, who's 11 now, was 3 years old when I first decided
Goodness.
I was going to run for office. Kaylin was born while I was elected. And so with that in mind, it really is one of those where for myself, family matters so much. But
Yes.
it's being creative in terms of incorporating them into. I was having a conversation the other night with one of my daughters, and I was talking to them about how a speech went really, really well. And she said, "Well, Dad, of course it went well. It was a smaller venue. And so you had smaller people, so you felt more comfortable."
She analyzed it.
She analyzed the reason why I felt as though my speech went really well. And part of that is I feel kind of guilty in that I'm taking sometimes I feel as though I'm taking something away from them. But at the same time, I also know that I'm empowering them. I'm empowering these young women with understanding about
Right.
politics and about the political nature of the game, and how it works, and how they can be an integral part. And so, my wife is a tremendous stalwart and has been holding our family together, and she's a rock, and I love her and appreciate everything that she's done and being able to enable me to do what it is that I do for the people of Montgomery County.
Well, Craig, I want to thank you for coming on to Montgomery Mosaic and chatting with me today. This has been an awesome opportunity, and I really wish you the best in your new role. Join us again next month for another exciting show at the same time on 1415 WOL, WPRS HD2, and worldwide on WOLDCnews.com. Have a great day.